some examples that you can definitely work out. They are related to the knowledge you have already gathered, that you already have. That means resistive circuits containing independent sources. So first of all, let's concentrate on the statement. I have written the statement in blue color. As you can see, I'm highlighting that any two-terminal linear network containing an energy source. These 2 points are important. You see, any two-terminal linear network containing impedance and energy sources. That means it can be a black box like. Okay, suppose only 2 terminals are available and you don't know actually what are the components of this device. Even then, there is a way of analyzing this. What I'm saying, suppose you have a condition like this. You have one network, say network 1, 2 terminals, and in these 2 terminals, another network, suppose network 2, this is connected. Now, if someone asks that what is the current delivered to network 2 by network 1, I repeat the question. Suppose if the question is what is the current being delivered to network 2 by network 1, then what we do, we consider this network 2 as load, and then what we do, we analyze using Thevenin's theorem. That is, the left hand side of this AB terminal, this side is analyzed using Thevenin's theorem. We find the corresponding equivalent circuit and then we do the further analysis. So what is that analysis? It says that any two-terminal linear network containing impedances and energy sources can be replaced by a voltage source of generated voltage VOC and internal impedance of ZTH. That means a circuit like this, which has only 2 terminals here, and you don't know about the internal construction of that black box. What you can do, then if this is your actual circuit, then an equivalent circuit can be obtained for that black box, which have a voltage source VOC and an impedance ZTH. Internal impedance of ZTH means that ZTH will appear in series. Internal impedance of a voltage source appears in series, so that ZTH will appear in series. Even without knowing the internal circuitry of that black box, one can convert that black box into an equivalent circuit having a voltage source and an internal impedance. What are the significances of those points? I mean, those values. EOC, this is basically the open circuit voltage at the terminal. So if you measure the voltage VOC across these 2 terminals using a voltmeter, that is your open circuit voltage. And ZTH on the other hand is the impedance viewed from the terminals when all the independent sources are replaced by their internal impedance. Sometimes instead of writing this entire statement that all the independent sources are replaced by their internal impedance, we can also write that the internal sources, I mean independent sources, are deactivated. Sources are deactivated. That actually means the same. Sources are deactivated means the same as replaced by their internal impedance. Because if you deactivate the source, that will not produce any voltage or current, but their internal resistances, internal impedances will remain there. That means for an ideal voltage source, internal impedance will be 0, that means it will be short circuited. Deactivation means if it is a voltage source, then that will be short circuited, and if it is a current source, then it will be open circuit. Let's see what you are saying. If the independent sources are not ideal, then you need to consider, yes, of course. But normally, all the analysis are done considering the zero resistance for voltage source and infinite resistance for current source. If in practical cases, the internal resistances are specified, then you can use it during the analysis. So this is what the Thevenin's theorem is saying. So these are well-known things you have learned that. Also in this context, I must mention that the Norton's theorem, this is nothing but an extension of Thevenin's theorem. If you know the procedure of finding Thevenin equivalent circuit, then you can always convert this into Norton equivalent circuit. As you can see in Thevenin's statement, here we have open circuit voltage and internal impedance. In Norton's theorem, there will be short circuit current and that impedance in parallel. You know how to convert a voltage source into current source. See, I shown it here. This, you know how to convert this. So if you have an equivalent circuit like this, which is the Thevenin equivalent circuit, you can always convert this into Norton equivalent circuit. You know how does this conversion method take place. Corresponding equivalent current source will be ES by RS, and that RS will come in parallel. Similarly, for this kind of circuit, VOC by ZTH, that will be your short circuited current, ISC, for Norton's theorem. VOC by ZTH, that will be ISC, and that ZTH will come in parallel. So for Norton equivalent circuit, the circuit configuration will look like this. This is ISC and this is ZTH. I hope that these points are well-known points. You have already learned. So what is new here? What is new? Oh, one more thing that I must mention, that though we know these theorems as Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem, but you should know that actually Thevenin's theorem was first proposed by von Helmholtz, a German scientist, von Helmholtz. Similarly, Norton's theorem was first proposed by Hans Mayer. But apparently their contributions were forgotten and the name Thevenin's and Norton's theorem were written. That means actually Thevenin and Norton, they were also two scientists. What they did is a reshaping or rephrasing the statement. Actually, it was invented by these two. Von Helmholtz was the inventor of Thevenin's theorem. I mean, what we know as Thevenin's theorem nowadays. And Hans Mayer was the scientist who proposed Norton's theorem actually. Anyway, that's only for the information. You just remember this. So anyway, the thing that I told you, that there will be obviously certain things which are new to this. So before going to that part, that what is new in this network theory syllabus, let's revisit the portion that you already learned in basic electrical. I shall show you a network which contains only independent sources. I shall tell you the methods using which corresponding Thevenin's equivalent circuit and further analysis can be done. You will definitely recognize those processes because you have already learned that. And after that, I shall go to those circuits where independent and dependent sources both are present. Okay, so I am stopping this. I shall go to a PPT presentation now. this one. Hopefully you can see this. So what Thevenin's theorem is saying, as I already mentioned this, wait a minute. Yes, I already said, see here two networks, network 1 and network 2 are connected. So you see that if current or voltage is required across some circuit element, then that circuit element is considered as load. So suppose if I ask you that what is the current delivered by network 1 to network 2, then that network 2 will be our load. So here we have a coupled network. Sometimes it is also required that we should know about how much impedance this side has. So for those cases also Thevenin's theorem is important. On the right hand side, at the top right corner, I drew the Thevenin equivalent circuit. That is a well-known circuit, you know, VOC, ZTH, what they are known as. Anyway, what are the steps? The first step is, if you identify a load, then first disconnect it. As I mentioned, if the current or voltage is required across, through or across network 2, then that network 2 is identified as load, that is disconnected, fine. So network 1, that can have any complicated structure. If nothing has been mentioned, even in that case, you can just deal with this. If you have a voltmeter and a multimeter, you can always measure the open circuit voltage across these two terminals AB, and you can always measure the impedance viewed from that. What are the steps? Suppose this. You suppose measure the voltage. Next step is this. See here the points are summarized here. First we need to remove the load. So once you have identified which one is your load, then you remove it. Then find VOC or VTH, whatever you write, both are okay. Then the third step is find RTH or ZTH. That means that internal impedance in this Thevenin equivalent circuit. So while doing so, what we do? To find ZTH or RTH, what we do? We deactivate all the sources of network 1. Okay. So to deactivate a voltage source, I already mentioned this. Voltage source, when we are deactivating it, we remove the source and replace it with a short circuit. To deactivate a current source, what we do? We remove the source and replace it by an open circuit. So let's study one problem or an illustration that shows that how this Thevenin's theorem can be applied. So suppose here, for example, suppose if the current is required through R4. Okay, suppose the question is find the current through R4 applying Thevenin's theorem. This circuit may appear a bit complex, but let me tell you, there are more complex circuits than this. This is still a simple circuit. You see, if the current is required through resistance R4, then that R4 will be treated as load, or we identify R4 as load. So first thing is we disconnect this. R4 is disconnected. Then we find the open circuit voltage across AB, and then while finding that ZTH or RTH, we deactivate the sources. Here in the next slide, the deactivation has been shown. Suppose there are voltage sources V1, V2, V3. There are current sources I1, I2. So if you deactivate them, you see voltage sources have been replaced by short circuits. Current sources have been replaced by open circuits. Right? So now what we have, you can see that this R1 is in parallel with R2. That combination is in series with R3. So if you view from these two terminals AB, one can say that this R1 is in parallel with R2. That combination is in series with R3. And this combination is in parallel with R4. If you look from these two terminals AB. However, if I say that what is the current to R4, then you need to disconnect that R4 and your calculation will stop at this point. So this is the procedure. Let's see, and finally what we do after finding the Thevenin equivalent voltage, which is the open circuit voltage, and then placing that RTH, measured RTH in series, we get the Thevenin equivalent structure. Then suppose if we need the current through network 2, then to do that, after finding that Thevenin equivalent structure, we reconnect network 2 and then do further analysis. Then we do further analysis. So suppose in this very simple circuit, if you want to apply Thevenin's theorem, then what you should? Let's concentrate on what has been said. Find Vx. Find Vx means which resistor is our load?
2 ohm.
2 ohm. Yes. So whenever it is specified that find current through certain circuit element or find voltage across some circuit element, that particular circuit element will be the load. So first identify the load. Here load is 2 ohm. So what we do, we disconnect. We have disconnected the load. So once it is disconnected, you can see this 4 ohm resistor that becomes a floating resistor. That 4 ohm is no longer a part of any loop, no closed path. That's a floating resistor. So that means there is no current through this 4 ohm, right? So obviously voltage across this 4 ohm will be 0. As this 4 ohm is floating, it is not a part of a closed path, so there should not be any current. So whatever you are measuring here, the open circuit voltage, or in terms of terminals, you can write this as VAB, or as you are applying Thevenin's theorem, you can write this as VTH, whatever. All of them are same thing. Anyway, this VOC is actually appearing here across this 6 ohm. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So as there is no current, so naturally this entire voltage VOC will appear across 6 ohm. So what we need to find is actually the voltage across 6 ohm, and that is in VOC. So how to do that? We see that in this loop, the voltage is 30, total resistance is 6 plus 12, that is 18. So that is the current, 30 by 18 multiplied by 6, that will be the open circuit voltage, so that's 10. 10. That's your open circuit voltage. So we know this. This is equal to 10. So first step, we disconnected the load. Second step is applying whichever method you want or whichever method you think is better. You can apply like mesh analysis, node analysis, what in any way you need to find this use open circuit voltage. That from next task is to find the impedance viewed from this terminal. Here all the circuit elements are resistors, so I am writing this as RTH. In case of complex circuit where we had inductors, capacitors, you can write it as ZTH. Anyway, so now the task is from these two terminals AB, you need to find RTH by deactivating all the independent sources. Okay, so now see, deactivating a voltage source means it will be replaced by a short. See, we replace that 30-volt voltage source by a short circuit. So if you look from these two terminals, it appears that 12 ohm and 6 ohm are in parallel, and that combination is in series with 4 ohm. So finally we get this 8 ohm, 12 parallel 6, that means 12 into 6 divided by 12 plus. So that is 72 by 18. 72 by 18 is another 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Hopefully there is no problem up to this because you have already studied this kind of things before. Suppose this one, another. For the circuit, find VAB. Okay, find VAB by first finding the Thevenin circuit. So as the voltage VAB is required across 17 ohm, so obviously that 17 ohm will be the load. So first we find VTH with 17 ohm resistor removed. We remove it. So once it is removed, we get a circuit configuration like this. So what will be the open circuit voltage here? You see, if this is the voltage, say VOC, we have two other meshes. This current is flowing through this 10 ohm. So the potential drop will be like this, plus minus. There is another current in this mesh that will develop a potential drop like this, plus minus. So the voltage across 20 ohm plus the voltage across 10 ohm, that is actually the VOC, right? So what is the voltage across 20 ohm? 20 divided by 20 plus 5, that is 25, multiplied by 20. So 400 divided by 25, that's 16. Similarly, what is the potential drop across 10 ohm?
15.
What is the voltage across 10 ohm?
15.
15. Because you see this path is broken, this is open circuited, so there should not be any current. Only current present in that 10 ohm resistor is that current, is that current source lies at the perimeter. So only that current will flow. So it is 15. Voltage across 10 ohm is 15. 15 volt. So we have 16 volt here, we have 15 volt here. Adding these two, we get this 31 volt. That's the open circuit voltage. VOC or VTH, whatever you write, whatever you want. So that's the first thing that we should do. Next is we deactivate the sources. See, in the original circuit, there was a current source that is deactivated, means we replace it by a open circuit. There is a voltage source, we replace it by a short circuit, so we get this. So now 5 ohm and 20 ohm are in parallel, and along with that we have a 10 ohm resistor. If you look from this terminal, RTH will be this 14 ohm. Anyway, so this is what you have learned so far. Next, what I shall show you are two other methods using which Thevenin equivalent circuit can be obtained. And in these two cases, the circuit configurations are also different. So let me show you this. Steps for determination of Thevenin or Norton's equivalent circuit. Right now I am emphasizing on Thevenin's theorem. As I already mentioned, Norton's theorem is just another step along with Thevenin's theorem. If you can obtain Thevenin equivalent circuit, you can always convert it into Norton. There is a basic difference between these. That is, in case of Thevenin circuit, we find open circuit voltage by removing the load. In case of Norton equivalent circuit, we remove the load, we short circuit the terminals, and we find the short circuit current. That's the difference, basic difference. Otherwise, everything is similar. Just that voltage source will be replaced by a short circuit current, and that internal impedance will come in parallel. So let's see. I am trying to, highlight only this part, Thevenin's part. So what are the steps? Steps one is the portion of the network across which Thevenin's equivalent circuit is to be found is removed from the network. I already mentioned you have to identify the load and then you have to withdraw it. I mean, you have to remove. Second point, the open circuit voltage or VOC is calculated keeping all the sources at their normal values. We did that. We saw two simple examples where we found VOC or open circuit voltage by keeping all the voltage sources and current sources intact. Third step is calculation of ZTH. Here now the circuit procedure will be different for three different cases. What is case one? Case one is what we just saw. When the circuit contains only independent sources, then what we do when we are finding ZTH. So see, this case one followed by case two, case three. These are basically related to the third step where we are calculating that impedance ZTH. Okay. So here what we do, voltage sources are circuited, current sources are open circuited. We already did that. So let's not waste time here. Equivalent impedance or admittance is calculated looking back to the circuit with respect to the two terminals. We did that. We know how to do this. Let's now concentrate on this case 2. When the circuit contains both dependent and independent source, then how to do this? The previous two steps are same. That is, you have to identify the load, you have to withdraw it. Then the second step is by some means you have to find the open circuit voltage. All this, everything is similar, but the procedure is changing when the circuit configuration is changing. That means the circuit has both independent and dependent sources. Now this procedure is different from case one. That means the circuit, the procedure is changing at this time when you are determining the Thevenin equivalent impedance ZTH. So let's study this. In this case, what we do, we find the open circuit voltage VOC. Then we find the short circuit current ISC, and the Thevenin's impedance is obtained as this, the ratio of VOC and ISC. Similar thing will happen if you are interested in Norton's theorem. This is written in terms of admittance. Anyway, that impedance will come in parallel only. Here you saw that probably. I didn't mention this earlier, that in case of Norton's circuit, what we do? Norton's equivalent circuit, what we do? We find short circuit current, IS or IN. Rest of the things are same. That means determination of ZTH, this procedure is same for both Thevenin and Norton. Anyway, so let's now concentrate on case 2 where the circuit contains both independent and dependent sources. So Thevenin's theorem is obtained in this way, ZTH is VOC by IS. Okay, let's now go to case 3. I shall show you an example that how in this case, case 2, I mean the cases where case 2 is applicable, how we can find the Thevenin equivalent circuit. I shall do that. See, when the circuit contains only dependent sources, then here some points are to be remembered that in this case VOC is 0. So whenever you see a circuit configuration where only dependent sources are present, we do not actually need to find open circuit voltage because open circuit voltage is always 0. It is obvious because dependent sources are basically some models, mathematical models that we have invented for our analysis purpose that do not exist in reality. Anyway, those dependent sources actually derive some current. I mean, those values are actually dependent on some other voltages and currents. Those voltages and currents are actually delivered by some independent sources. So if the independent sources are not present at all, at that time, where will this dependent source get the voltage or current from? Naturally, VOC is zero. Similar things can be stated for Norton's theorem also. In this case, if you apply Norton's theorem, then short circuit current will be zero. So remember here, the network will contain a single resistor only or impedance, whatever applicable. So here what we do, in this case, we connect a test voltage or current. It depends on you. Whichever you think is preferable, you can do that. When a circuit contains only dependent sources, then the procedure of finding ZTH. See, I am talking about step 3, okay? And step 3 is different for 3 different cases. So here in case 3, what we do, that we connect a test voltage source at the terminals A and B. That means the load terminals. Then we find what is the current driven through AB. Current driven in the terminal by the voltage source. If you connect a voltage source as test, then you need to find the current. If you connect the current source as test source, then you need to find the voltage drop. So that is corresponding things are written in bracket. So after doing this, what we do? Suppose we have connected a voltage source, so that voltage is a V test. Then by some analysis, that can be mesh analysis or node analysis or whatever. Suppose we have found the current delivered by that source, that is I test. So from the ratio of these two, we find ZT. This is the procedure. And the fourth point is obvious that finally Thevenin equivalent circuit is obtained by placing VOC in series with ZT. It is obvious. For example, if you are interested in Norton, then Norton equivalent circuit is obtained by placing ISC in parallel with YA. So let's now talk about Thevenin's part only.
So why do we
Find the
connect
way.
voltage source?
Yes. Are you saying something?
Sir, in case of dependent sources, why are we connecting voltage source? Test voltage. I didn't understand that.
See, in this case, there is no direct way of finding VOC. So that's why we are connecting an additional voltage source as test voltage, so that it can deliver a current. Actually, you see, suppose just try to understand this from a different perspective. Suppose a black box is given to you. You have only two terminals. So can you tell me how do you find the resistor from this? What is the actual procedure? How do you find this? You connect a multimeter across it, but what does this multimeter do? Actually, a potential drop is produced and the current is measured. What this network is drawing, how much current this network is drawing from a voltage source, that current is measured. So if you know this V and I, then you can obtain this resistor as V by I. Is that okay? That's why, as there is no independent source in this network, you don't know that only dependent sources are present. So VOC is zero. So obviously you cannot use the straightforward way, because in a straightforward way, VOC should have some value. There should be an impedance, and that should come in series. So that's why we go from a different way. We connect a voltage source deliberately. Then this is suppose V test. Then we find what is the current driven by that source into the network. Then from the ratio of V test and I test, we find the impedance. That's the method.
So the value of V test will be anything.
So we
Yes.
can connect any voltage source, any
Any
V-test.
voltage source. Normally, what we do, we just write this as V test or VDC, or you can write the current as IDC. You can take it as 1 volt. You can connect a 1 ampere current source, whatever. Anything. Actually, when you do this analysis, you will see that these two, actually the value of these two are not important. Their ratio is important. So if you keep this as VDC and IDC, you will get these two terms in the equation. And then rearranging the terms, you need to find their ratio. The one point has been mentioned here, that method of case 3. Method of case 3. This one. That means connecting test voltage or test current method. This is also applicable for case 2. That means instead of finding VOC and ISC and their ratio, as we did in case of case 2, you can also apply this method suggested here. But you need to remember that if you are applying that test voltage method for case 2 means where the circuit contains both dependent and independent sources, then you need to remember that at that time all the independent sources must be deactivated. If you are applying this test voltage or test current method, that means method suggested for case 3 to case 2, then you need to deactivate all the independent sources while applying this method. So better not to use it, otherwise there might be some confusion. You may forget this step, but that means if you forget to deactivate that independent source while you are applying the test voltage, then there will be an erroneous result. So it is better to remember only this for case 2, only this for case 3, and case 1 is already known. You know how to apply case 1. So now I shall go to that PPT presentation again, and will show you an example related to case 2. I am stopping this. As you can see here, we have the circuit contains an independent source. The circuit contains a dependent. Okay, first read the question. Find the voltage across 100 ohm load. It is already mentioned as load. Anyway, if nothing is mentioned, if current or voltage is required across some circuit element, that is our load. So this is the load, 100 ohm. So the first step is to disconnect 100 ohm. This we disconnected 100 ohm. Then whatever method you have learned so far, mesh method or node method, whatever you want, you can apply this to find the open circuit voltage. Here you can see that I used the mesh method where I applied that KVL. See, VAB or VTH, this is required. That open circuit voltage appears here. Let's write this as VTH. You can also write this as VOC. As you can see, this 40 ohm is floating, so this VOC is actually here. So in other words, you can say, see, this is IS. That IS is not getting branched. That same IS is flowing through the mesh. So in other words, you can see that this IS will develop or drop across 30 ohm. So 30 multiplied by IS plus 6 IS. This is our VOC. Okay. So I just wrote the KVL. I just wrote the KVL for this mesh. You see that 50 into IS, 30 into IS, so that makes it 80 IS. In the direction of current, if you get a plus sign, then plus, so plus 6 IS. In the direction of current, if you get a minus sign, then minus, so minus 86, that's equal to 0. If you solve it, then you will get is equals to 1 ampere. If you put 1 ampere here, then what you get? 36, right? If is equals to 1 ampere, then 30 plus 6, that is your fuse, or 36 volt. So we get this value. So first two steps are done. We have identified the load, I disconnected it. After that, we found the voltage, which is 36 volt. You will also apply node method here. You see, if VOC comes here, that means this point voltage is VOC, right? So you can write in this way that VOC minus 6 is divided by 30, the current leaving through this branch. In this branch, current is already shown, which is IS, so you can connect this as IS. Also, you can recognize that IS is actually 86 minus VOC by 50. Can I tell that? IS is flowing in this direction, so this 86 must be greater than VOC. In this way, you can recognize that this IS is actually 86 minus VOC by 50. That current is entering this node. This current is leaving the node. So from this equation, you can again solve it. Right? You can solve it. And you will get the same thing. VOC equals to 36 volt. Whatever method you think is applicable, you can do. Next, remember what I said. Forget this one. This. Remember what I said. See, we found this 36 volt as the open circuit voltage. Next, if you remember, in case of case 2, this is an example of case 2 where we have both independent and dependent sources. What was the method? First, we need to find VOC, then we need to find IS. See here, we short circuited the terminals, terminal A and B. After removing that 100 ohm, we short circuited this and we assume that a current ISC is flowing through this. So how to solve it then? How to find that value of IS? You have learned the method. You have learned the method. There are two
Current
meshes.
division.
Do mesh analysis or whatever you think is preferable.
Current division method.
Yes,
So current division method we can also use.
current division, not actually. See, here we have a dependent source. We don't know about the internal impedance of the dependent source. You cannot use it.
Oh, okay. Sir.
Current division is applicable only when two branches contain resistors or impedances like this. Suppose if we have this, a current is flowing and you have two branches like this. And if you require current in this branch, then you can apply current division. But here this is not applicable.
Okay, sir.
So how to do that? See, IS, this is loop current here. This is IS. And as I marked this branch current as ISC, same current ISC is flowing in this branch, I mean in this loop, this mesh. So what are the mesh equations then? Tell me. You studied already the that inspection method for mesh 1, 50 plus 30, 80, 80 IS,
80 into IS.
80 IS, that is minus 30 ISC.
Minus 30 ISC, yes.
Yes, 80 IS minus 30 ISC. Next, at the right hand side, if the current is coming from minus sign, then minus, so minus 6 IS. If the current is coming from plus sign, see the circulation of current, then you will understand. The circulation of current shows that when IS flowing, then it is coming out of negative sign from this dependent source. So minus 6 IS, and when it flows like this in clockwise direction, then it is coming out from this plus sign of 86. So plus 86. So simply from this, we obtain the first equation. Rearranging the terms, actually, we obtain the first equation. Next is for the second mesh. You see 30 plus 40, 40 plus 30, 70 ISC. This is 70 ISC minus 30 IS, minus 30 IS. And if you see the flow of this ISC, then that is coming from the plus sign of 6 IS. 6 IS at the right hand side. Okay. Simplifying that, we obtain the second equation. Then just solve it, get the value of IS. Already this is solved. You can verify that. So you see, this is how we get ISC. Then the task is you have to find RTH. How to find RTH? From the ratio of VAB and ISC. VAB means this, the open circuit voltage. You can also write this as VOC or VTH. So from VOC and ISC ratio, you find RTH, that's 57.4. Now, see, I mentioned this in that document. Let me show you that document again. That method of case 3, that means this test voltage method, this is also applicable for case 2. I shall show you that now. That even you can use the test voltage method for case 2, but you have to remember that while doing so, these particular points should be kept in mind, that the independent sources must be activated while connecting that test voltage or current. So let's see. Okay. So see this one. Up to this, there is no problem. We found 36 volt as open circuit voltage. So third step has the variations where we are finding the RTH or ZTH. 3. Voltage source was there, 86 volt. We are about to connect a test voltage source here. We are about to connect a test voltage here. Either you connect, say, V test or VDC, and accordingly you find that what is the current delivered by this source that is flowing into the network, that is I test or IDC, and then from the equation you can find their ratio. Otherwise you can simply take their value as 1 volt or 1 ampere. Accordingly you can do a further calculation. See this, here I connected 1 ampere current source as a test current. So our aim is to find the voltage across this, which is V. So once you have V divided by 1, that is our Thevenin's equivalent resistance. So see, once you have connected this 1 ampere, then there are already some currents marked IS, that was the current. This branch has 1 ampere now. This branch has IS. So these two currents are meeting, they form IS plus 1. Remember, as you have connected a test current source here, so this is actually case 1 of super mesh, where a current source lies at the perimeter. Remember, current source lies at the perimeter. So this branch current, this mesh current, that is actually 1 ampere. So what you need to solve? You need to find this voltage, the voltage which is appearing across that. How to find that voltage? You need this voltage, you need this voltage, and also you need this. So you see, this is actually a loop or mesh. So voltage V that has been marked as V, this voltage is actually the sum of the other 3 voltages. The voltage across 40. Voltage across 40 is how much? 40. Because through this only 1 ampere is flowing. So voltage here is actually 40. Let me use other color. Voltage present here is 40 volt. What is the voltage across this 30 ohm? To do that, we use this analysis. 50 is actually you can write this by simply inspecting that inspection method. 50 plus 30, 80 is minus 30 into 1, and that is equal to minus 6 is. This is actually what has been done here, from which you can obtain is equals to minus 15 by 43. So once you have this is value, what will be the voltage across 30 ohm? Voltage across 30 ohm, this is how much? Minus 15 by 43 multiplied by 30. Once you have this is, you can also find this 6 is. That voltage is minus 15 by 43 into 6. And you have this 40 volt. So finally what we have? 40 volt plus this plus this. This is your voltage. See this?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, if we assume that the voltage across the test current source is V, suppose, and then the voltage at that node is V naught, suppose, then using nodal analysis, can we do this?
Of course.
From this we will get one equation, and also another equation from, since 1 ampere is flowing, so
Of
another
course,
equation.
you can use whatever method you want. I am just showing you an alternative. You can use anything you want. You just need to go to the answer. That's all. What you are saying, that if this is voltage V, then you can assume this voltage as V, right? Then you can apply node analysis.
Yes.
This is what you are saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Obviously, you can. See, here you can write that V divided by 50. Actually, that current is opposite. Anyway, so I shall assume is equals to minus V by 50. V by 50, then there is V minus 6 is by 30. These are the currents, and there is 1 ampere. Or you can write this in this way, observing which currents are entering. Is is entering, 1 ampere is entering. So is plus 1. This current is the current which is leaving, V minus 6 is divided by 30. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So actually you need what? You need the ratio of V and 1. Remember, you have chosen this as 1. So you need the ratio of V and 1. So actually you need to solve for this is. See, this is is what? Minus V by 50. So whenever you find is, just substitute this by minus V by 50. You can do this. Minus V by 50 here plus 1. V minus 6 into minus V by 50. So it is plus 6V by 50 by 30. Solve it. What you need? V by 1. So actually you are going to find V by 1. So find this. On this way, whether you are getting the same thing or not.
Yes, sir. Same.
Is it coming? The same?
Yes, sir. Approximately same.
Yes. 57 point some value. So see, everything is possible as long as you are going okay. As long as your chosen direction is perfect, then obviously you will reach the destination. I am leaving this to you. I am not doing this calculation further. I am not going to this. You just can check that if you find this value, then whether they are coming this equal to that or not. 57.4. See, another method that we tried before that also gave us the same result, 57.4. So both methods are applicable, but as I told you here, if you apply the test voltage method for case 2, then you need to remember that when you are applying this test voltage, this is a method. You need to remember the steps that while doing so, you need to deactivate the independent sources. So better forget this, use this. Find VOC, find ISC, from the ratio of these two, you can get RTH. Then actually what you will have is 3 different processes for 3 different circuits. You don't need to have any headache regarding which method will be applicable where. So if you have any question now, tell me. Next day we shall see the circuits, some other circuits there we will try to apply this method again. Tell me if you have any question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I think the academic calendar has been given. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So tomorrow is a holiday, and probably if you see mark out a calendar, then in between October 1st and October 4th, we need to submit CA1 mark. So for that, there will be a quiz very soon. That will be set very soon. I'm informing you. So in the next week, probably we shall cover 3 or 4 network theorems also. So in these 3 weeks, what we learned, the quiz questions will be set from that part. Okay.
Sir, up to Norton's and Thevenin's theorem.
No. Still the 3rd week is available. You can see that from 21st to 25th, there will be another week. So in that week, there will be 3 or 4 another, 2 or 3 at least network theorems. So whatever we will be able to cover up to 3rd week, up to 25th September. From that section, quiz questions will be set.
Okay.
আজকে হচ্ছে কত তারিখ আছে 16 roll number 62
Yes, sir.
63
Present, sir.
64
Yes, sir.
5
Yes, sir.
6
Yes, sir.
7
Yes, sir.
8
Present, sir.
9 69 the name is showing Aditya Srivastava. Anyway, I have given you attendance 70
Present, sir.
21 transferred